Hello, and welcome to episode number 5 of the Marriage Coach Podcast, where we are here to help you take your relationship from surviving to thriving. Today on the Marriage Coach Podcast, we will be discussing the 5 love languages. If you like this podcast, go ahead and subscribe and share it over all your social media platforms. We also want to take this opportunity to invite you to check out our Lead to Greatness podcast, a podcast that's designed to help you reach your greatest potential. It's a podcast that also covers leadership and entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we're definitely so excited to have you guys here on the Marriage Coach Podcast on today. We're going to be discussing the 5 love languages. 5 love languages is very, very important. When we're talking about love languages, you have one person speaking from one language and someone else speaking from another language. And to be honest, that can definitely cause confusion and frustration within the relationship.
Absolutely. And oftentimes what we are doing is we're loving someone from our own love language.
Right.
If we could just, if I could start by just sharing with you that for years and years in our marriage, I loved my husband from my love language. Of the love languages that's higher on my list is receiving gifts. And I oftentimes felt that I was showing him love by giving him gifts, birthdays, anniversary, or for no reason at all, purchasing a gift for him. So it's important to know your significant other's love language. It's important. The love language is important to know for the marital relationship, a parenting relationship, friendship, everything, because we have love in more ways than one. And knowing a person's love language can be very beneficial to you because it helps you love that person the way they need to be loved. Because what we do is we express love the way we expect to receive love. The 5 Love Languages is a book, and it was written by Gary Chapman. And what Gary Chapman is, he's a marriage counselor. He studied marriage, and he studied marriage for over 30 years. And he compiled this information and came up with the 5 love languages because it was what he heard from couples all the time. So when the wife came in and said, he never tells me that I'm beautiful, he never tells me he loves me, he doesn't tell me anything nice, he knows that her love language is words of affirmation. When the husband says she never has time for me, blah, 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 or she never wants to be physical, she never wants to have sex, then he knows that one of his high love languages is quality time or physical touch. And this is the thing to be mindful of. All of these love languages we encompass in some way. It's just that some of them are a higher priority for you. As for instance, one of my top love languages is receiving gifts. That means that that's important to me. That's a way that people express love to me. It's also a way that I could believe to express love to other people. So the 5 love languages were designed by Gary Chapman as a way of breaking up what type of love language will fill your significant other or your child or your relative, will fill the other person's emotional love tank.
Right. And I think it's a really good thing with Gary Chapman, because I have to be honest. I mean, I'm a man, we're skeptical, so when I first heard about the 5 love language, I was like, okay, what is this? It ain't really that serious. But when we really did it, I mean, it kind of shook me up a little bit. I'm like, wow, so, I mean, it identified me to the T. And then, so we started looking into it like, okay, it identified me, then you look like it identified you.
Right.
So we both been identified by these 5 love languages. And these 5 love languages cover every area as far as I'm concerned. And what we started doing, we started finding out that we've been speaking out of different love languages for at least half of our marriage.
Right. There was a lot of years where we spoke different languages to each other. Like I said, we were loving each other the way we desired to be loved. And that did not mean that we didn't love each other. It just means that when you love me the way you desire to be loved, I may not feel loved because that's not my love language. And it's often described as one person speaking Chinese and the other person is speaking English or French. So you're speaking two different languages and the other person does not understand or know that language. So they can't really know how to love you the way you desire to be loved. And that was one of the things that as we read the book about the 5 love languages that stood out to me as a star, something to pinpoint. And we'll put that nugget there for each and every one of you that are listening. It's important to know the person that you are in relationship with. It's important to know their love language. Here on the Marriage Coach podcast, we're talking about, marriage, and we're talking about relationships between a man and a woman, dating and all of that. But this also applies to your kids. It also applies to your parents. It also applies to your friends, because it's important to know how the people in your life desire to be loved. Otherwise, you can have a child who feels like mom don't love me, dad don't love me, when the truth of the matter is that you're just not speaking their love language. You're buying them shoes and giving them gifts, and they just want to spend time with you. So knowing the person's love language, whoever the person is, knowing their love language is vitally important.
Right. Absolutely. Speaking different love languages, and I'm loving you according to what I think love is. And
then you're going to think you're doing a great job. And if it's not my love language, I'm going to feel like you suck.
Right.
And you don't love me and you don't care about me. And why are we married? You don't even love me. That's the way I'm going to feel. Not that it's true, but that's the way I'm going to feel, because my love language is not being spoken.
And I believe that's why a lot of times, a lot of times you have marriages, and somebody in the relationship, they may be surprised. Like, whoa, what happened? I thought I was doing a great job. I thought I was a great wife. I thought I was a great husband. But then your spouse tell you you're unhappy.
They want out.
A lot of people, surprised. Like, man, what happened?
Absolutely.
What happened? And then people, feeling bad. Whether it's, I know men and I know women that feel that feels bad. Their heart is broken and crushed because they feel they were doing the right thing. They feel they were loving the right way. There's some man now feel because he's going to work, working hard, making money, that he's showing how he loves his family, but the wife don't see that as love.
Absolutely.
Why? Because you're not feeding and speaking to the love language.
Absolutely. And there is a wife who may be listening to this now, and you may feel like he doesn't love me. He doesn't care. He never helps out with the kids. He never does this. He doesn't take out the trash. He doesn't do that. He never takes me anywhere. He doesn't spend time with me. Whatever it is, you feel like this relationship is not working. I'm done. He's not giving me, you don't even probably feel like he's not giving me what I need. You just like, he's not the one. This is not working. It's over. I'm done. Or maybe you don't feel I'm over. It's done. You just feel like, this is just marriage. We just supposed to coexist together. But the truth of the matter is, I promise you, if you can take the love language quiz at 5lovelanguages.com. You can buy the book. You can read the book.
The information will be in the show notes.
Right. And you can take the love language quiz. And I guarantee you, if you answer and respond honestly, according to the way you really feel, what things your significant others do that burns you up. What things your significant other does that makes you feel like a queen or a king. If you're honest about answering the questions, you will get an honest result of what your love language is. And for us, we have taken this quiz multiple times with different couples, with different friends. We took it one Sunday. We had all the family in the living room on our phone taking the love language test. And each and every time, all of our numbers were pretty much in the same range. What was a top love language for me remained a top love language for me. What was a top love language for him remained a top love language for him. And all of these love languages speak to us in some form, but some are just on a higher scale for us. And so as we talk about that, we want to go ahead and dive into the 5 love languages.
With 5 love languages or different things you do, it takes 2. It's only going to work when 2 people, because marriage is 2 becoming 1. When 2 people equally, evenly apply
Yes. Mm-hmm.
these lessons that we're sharing with y'all, because I'm guaranteeing and I'm letting you know it works.
Mm-hmm.
It works. I mean, we have 22 years successful marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it, these are a lot of the tools that we have used.
Absolutely.
And we're just sharing tools that we use that we know work. We're not coming on here giving a podcast on something that we're guessing that. This is what we know. We know it works, because knowledge without application is meaningless. Okay, so what's number one?
Number one is words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation. Break that down.
And words of affirmation are kind, loving, meaningful words, kind, loving, meaningful compliments, kind acknowledgement, loving acknowledgement. Words of affirmation is things like, oh babe, I love how you take care of our family.
Mm-hmm.
Oh babe, I love how, thank you so much, honey, for helping me, unload the groceries out the car. Right. Oh babe, you look great today. Oh babe, you look nice in that shirt. And notice that we said meaningful, because it's important that you not just, splatting off stuff. They said say nice stuff.
Don't
so
do
I'm
it.
just
don't
say,
fake it. You fake it, they gonna know it.
Exactly. They said say nice stuff. So oh baby, you look good today.
You have to be real what you're saying.
Find something that you actually can meaningfully say to your spouse that is a kind word, that is a compliment, that's an acknowledgement. Oh babe, you did a great, oh babe, them hamburgers you grilled were good. Man, that burger was good. Things like that.
I guarantee you do that, you'll get more hamburgers on the grill. I mean, if you're always complaining that it's burnt and it's too salty, I mean, he's not gonna be passionate and want to put burgers on the grill.
And we're all like that. If we're honest, we've been like that since we were kids. Your whole life, your teacher tell you good job, you're gonna try to do a good job the next time.
You want me to tell you something I discovered? I didn't realize this till, this is probably like 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. I wear cologne. I like to wear cologne, and this is the thing. What I learned is, I tend to wear the cologne people give me the most compliments about. Absolutely. If nobody give me the compliments on the cologne, it doesn't matter how I think it smells. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have to tell you, one of my best smelling colognes, what I really like since I was young, is Cool Water cologne. Cool Water cologne is one of my favorites. I have about a Cool Water cologne.
You had it for a while.
I still have it, and I rarely use it because when I wear it, nobody say anything.
Exactly.
But there's certain colognes, Creed and things like that I wear that I constantly get compliments out of. So I tend to wear those a lot more. So I mean, words of affirmation is very, very important, and this is one of the things, and this is true, and this happens in relationships with men and with women. Which what happened is, we tend to only complain and talk about the things that we don't like.
Right.
And we don't talk about the things we like. And what it does, it creates problem and animosity in the relationship, because all you talk about is what I don't like. So in my mind, you're basically telling me that I can't do anything right. For the spouse, you're basically telling him that he can't do anything right. Mm-hmm. You're basically telling her that she can't do anything right. So they feel inadequate in what they're doing. And what you need to do is give them words of affirmation as much as possible. Encourage them as much as possible. And then when there is a negative connotation, even when there is something you have to say, given the truth, the truth is taken a lot easier when you've given them 5 compliments to every truth you're giving them. If you're giving them vice versa, you're destroying your relationship.
Absolutely. And I believe that you can even give, if your spouses or significant others' love language is words of affirmation, and you have filled their emotional love tank, you will be able to deal with the tough stuff.
Yeah.
And you will learn, first of all, you'll learn to deal with the hard stuff that you have to tell them in a better way. You'll even learn how to give criticism with kind words. Or you'll even learn how to share what you're feeling, your disappointments, your honey, I love you. You're an awesome husband. It really hurt me that you did such and such. Yeah. You will know how to even give what we would call bad or hard information, you can still give it lovingly and kindly. Yeah. You have to practice. We talked about this in, I don't remember what podcast it was, but we talked about how when you're dating someone or when you're trying to win their affection and create a relationship with them, you're mindful of how you say things to them. Yeah. You're mindful of what you do in regards to them because you don't want to offend them or hurt them. And so we have to keep that stamina even in our active relationships, our ongoing relationships, our marriages, our family relationships. We want to keep that. Absolutely. Even when you have to say something that is considered criticism or something that is can be considered negative, you still can say that in a kind, loving way. Yeah. And see, this is something that we have to practice because we live in a society that tells us when you just blurt it out, you keeping it real. And that's not true, because if people do the same thing to you, you're going to be hurt. So if your significant other, your child, whoever, if the person you're dealing with, the person you love, if their love language is words of affirmation, you can even correct and give criticism to them with kind words.
That's a phrase I heard. They say you can get more bees with honey
than with vinegar.
I mean, that's absolute truth. So we have to be very careful. And, so number one is words of affirmation. So what's number two?
Number two is quality time.
Okay, explain that.
And quality time, listen up closely. If your significant other's love language is quality time, this is undivided, undistracted attention. It is you and your spouse spending time together,
off your cell phone,
doing something they enjoy, and you are fully engaged with what you two are doing. Yeah. You mentioned how you like to sit in the backyard or on the porch, listen to your jazz music or burning boxes, all of that. And that means during those times when we're on the back porch, my cell phone stays in the house. Our cell phones stay in the house. Yeah. And we turn our phones on do not disturb because that is the time given to him. And this is something that I had to learn. And it was after, listen, I learned this even after we took the love language, because I knew his love language, his highest love language is quality time. So I'm thinking in my mind, quality time for me, you in the room with me, that's good. But for him, I mean, not quality time, just being in the room with me, I thought that was spending quality time. That's not the definition of quality time. That was just my thought. But I had to understand that spending quality time with him was what I just said, undivided, undistracted attention. Yeah. It's you not being on your cell phone, not worrying about what you're going to cook for dinner, not on Facebook, not on Instagram, not planning this or planning that, or you're doing, you talking to him on the phone, but then you talking to other people in the background, or you're you're supposed to be out to dinner with them, but you're calling your girlfriend or texting your girlfriend, your friends, whatever.
And that's honestly, that's something I hear a lot.
Yes, it is.
It can be either spouse or yes, just relationship in general, where someone want to spend quality time. Listen to quality time, not just time, quality time. Mm-hmm. That means you're putting some quality inside of it. That means you're all in. That means you're present in that particular situation. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes we go, I mean, it's crazy how probably right now we're in COVID. So, I mean, we haven't really been going out to restaurants, but prior to COVID, we go to a restaurant and you see the whole family on their cell phone.
Sitting at the table.
And one of the things we choose to do, and I mean, the kiddos, they get upset about it sometimes, but I mean, we have no cell phones on. Mm-hmm. We eating when we having dinner, when we go out, the cell phones are off the table. We're not posting our food. We're not taking, I mean, and that's just us. I mean, to each his own, but I encourage you, make quality time. Don't get so caught up and consumed in social media, because social media takes away from quality time. And instead of you trying to build a relationship, the relationship is steady crumbling. Some people have better relationships with IG than you have with your spouse. So we have to redirect that, because these things and these devices are taking our attention, and it's causing problems in our lives because we're not giving time to it's supposed to be given to. We're focused and we're consumed in our technology, we're consumed in television, and we get so caught up and we don't do and have those quality times.
Absolutely.
So make sure quality time needs to be very, very
make sure that
top
it's
priority.
Quality. Make sure that it's quality. And this is the thing. And I want to encourage you that, don't feel discouraged if you failed at this, because like I said, I learned to do this better even way after I learned that this was his love language, because I thought, I'm here with you. I'm answering texts or checking my work email, or I'm sending text messages to church members, but that's not quality time. So those things have to be removed. And yes, okay, you have an IG channel, you have whatever, blog, do everything you do
your thing.
But set aside, and that's the difference.
Don't get caught up.
Exactly. And that's the difference. You're setting aside when you are spending quality time with your children, or quality time with your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your fiance, your husband, your wife. When you are spending quality time with them, that's a difference. It's okay, if you're going out to eat because you want to do a vlog to upload on your channel, great, do that. But when it comes to quality time with them, there has to be a separation, and there has to be balance, harmony, and everything.
All right, so we talked about our second number 2, quality time. What's number 3?
Number 3 is receiving gifts. And this is the receiving of thoughtful items. And let me explain this to you. For those of us who have a high love language that is about receiving gifts, it's not about the price. It's not about, oh, this is $1,000, this was $5, no, it's about the thought that goes into what that person gives to you. Because you might give a person a car because they like to receive gifts. But if they feel like it was no thought, meaning you can buy me 3 cars and there was no thought into this, you just bought me a car, then that's the way they feel. And I know a car is very big, so people might find that hard to conceive. But there are people who have the means, so their husband buying them a car means nothing, So this receiving gifts is about thoughtful items that you receive. For people that, like myself, who receiving gifts is a high love language for you, they can make you a handmade card. And I keep those things forever. We have a keepsake box. We keep cards. We keep pictures. We keep things and there are things in there from the children from when they were in kindergarten. Some of them 4th grade. There are things from the children from the church that are now adults. They gave it to us when they were teenagers or when they were young kids. They made handmade cards for Mother's Day or Father's Day, or, for pastors and wife appreciation or whatever. And we still have those things till today, because I'm a person that loves, I'm changing it to I'm a person that loves receiving gifts, and things like that matter to me. The thing, when someone looks at what I like, and know that they take the time to go get it for me. They don't have to buy me, I like expensive handbags, but it doesn't have to be a $400 or $500 handbag. It could be a $5 handbag. If it's cute and I like it and it's my style, then you're like, oh yeah, she will. For someone to do that for me, it means a lot, compared to if someone was to say, give me something else that they didn't put any thought into. It's like the person speaks to you. They're speaking to a part, is feeding a part of you. Once you take the love language quiz, or if you just you can take a look at yourself and what has happened in and throughout your life that has either made you happy or disappointed you, or made you feel good. I don't want to say made you happy. Make you feel good, filling your emotional love tank, or has made you feel disappointed. If you're the person that your birthday comes and mom, you were 15, your birthday came, mom didn't buy you a gift, that disappointed you. then you may have a love language of receiving gifts. If you are 20 or 25 and your husband didn't get you a gift for your last anniversary and that disappointed you, you may have the high love language of receiving gifts. But you could also appreciate or have a love language of words of affirmation, which means I love or I enjoy, it makes me feel good to receive gifts, but it also makes me feel good to hear, babe, you're beautiful. Honey, I love you. You're doing a great job. So you have, all of us encompass some part of these love languages, all five of them, some way, some shape, form. It's just that there's levels to it. Some people, words of affirmation will do it for them every time. It's number one. For other people, quality time will do it for them every time. For other people, receiving gifts will do it for them every time. And then also, the people that love receiving gifts, or it makes them feel good. I don't want to say love receiving gifts. It makes them feel good. It speaks to them to receive thoughtful gifts, items that someone thought about. It can also make that person feel good that you want to spend quality time with them. It's just that if you gave them a handmade card, that would skyrocket that feeling, versus if you spend time with me, I just feel, oh, that feel good. But you gave me this card and it's like, whoa, he really cares, or yeah, the kids love me, or whatever. It feels completely different when that top love language is being fed. You want to give, honestly and truthfully, you want to give your spouse, your significant other, your children, all of these love languages in the appropriate manner for whatever the relationship is with that person. But when it comes to knowing a person's love language, their top love language is it's the tank that needs to stay full. It's the tank that needs to stay full.
Absolutely. Yeah. So number 3 is receiving gifts. All right. So what is number 4?
So number 4, the fourth love language, is acts of service.
Okay, unpack that.
And this is doing for or assisting with. So an act of service is you doing something for that person. The person whose top love language is acts of service, or, their second highest love language is acts of service. They feel loved. They receive love by you doing things for them or helping them do things. For us, a husband picking up the dry cleaning, picking up the kids from daycare, if that's what the wife normally does. For your significant other, it could be carrying groceries. It could be opening the door. It could be paying the bills. Your wife is just elated when she sees you take out the trash. Your husband is just elated when he sees you cook dinner, whatever it is. Anything from the smallest to the greatest. And here's the thing, if we can pause here for a moment. When you get to know your spouse's love language, you still want to talk about it. Talk about what we talked about. Communication. We talk in our communication podcast, we talked about confirming. So if your spouse love languages, words of affirmation, talk to them about what that looks like to them. You want
to talk about it often.
Exactly. Talk about it often. What does that mean? Because you might think, hey, baby, you look good. You might think that that's enough. And she may want you to say something else. She may want you to compliment or acknowledge something, or they may not. Words of affirmation is her love language, but that may not be considered words of affirmation depending upon how you say it. So it's important to know that.
And you know what, that is so true, because I've heard cases of men say things, like, doing, want to have sex, and they say things and they and they
like,
wife,
you gonna give me some?
And they wife, right, and they wife take it like, like
they believe they're saying to you, I love you and you look good to me. But the words that came out was, girl, you look hot, or girl, you look good, or your butt look good in them jeans, or whatever. And that does not speak words of affirmation to her, because what she wants to hear is, oh, baby, your hair looks beautiful like that. I love it when you wear your hair like that. So it's important to confirm what these things.
You have to know your woman. You have to know your man.
Exactly.
Really, you have to know your woman. That's why communication. We keep talking about communication. That's why this is very important, because sometimes men may say something to a woman she would never tell her, she will never tell him how she feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's wrong.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the man. Woman does something or say something, he never express how he feel.
And when your significant other, we going back, we always connecting because that's just the way it is. When your significant other expresses how your words, the words that you believe are words of affirmation, or what you believe is quality time, or what you believe is receiving gifts is not the same for them, hear them. Don't do what we do oftentimes as people. As people, we want to, and this is the thing, and I know this because I did it. We want to convince the other person that we are right. We want to convince the other person that me giving you gifts is important and you should feel that it's important. But that's not the way this goes, because then you're asking them not to be true to who they are. And you're asking them, you don't even know what goes in your love tank. I do. Yeah, and that's absolutely not the way it goes. Absolutely. Because quality time to him is undivided, undistracted, uninterrupted attention. So I can't say it should be enough just because I'm here. No. Receiving gifts for me is not just going buy me something to, oh, here go a gift. You like receiving gifts, here go a gift. No, it's thinking of what I like. Yeah. Thinking of the things that I like. What is it that my wife like? What color does she like? Or what is, my husband knows I like handbags. Those things, handbags, shoes, jewelry. That's my thing. So that is what's important. You can give me a gift of a bouquet of flowers. That's awesome. Flowers are beautiful. I'm not a flower girl, so that's not going to be a thoughtful gift to me, because if you thought about me, you would know I only like flowers in the yard. I don't necessarily need them in a vase. So it's important to know when not to know, to listen. When your significant other, when the other person that you are showing love to or attempting to show love to expresses to you that what you are doing is not what they feel or receive as that love. And that love meaning words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service. When they are telling you how they see it, it's important for you to listen, because you trying to change their mind is not going to change the way they feel about it. If I don't believe that, if I don't believe that washing dishes is an act of service, and I'm just saying that, if I think that the act of service is you going to work and paying the bill, then washing dishes is not going to appease that part. Absolutely. If I don't believe that this is a thoughtful gift that you just went and got it, or you then that's not going to fulfill that part. So when your significant other, when the person that you are attempting to show love to expresses to you what they perceive or what they feel, not perceive, what they feel that particular love language means, you have to listen to them.
Good. All right, so number 4 is acts of service. What's number 5?
Number 5 is physical touch.
Ooh. All right, let's talk about that.
And this is meaningful forms of touch. Wait a minute. It can include, but is not limited to sex. It can include physical touch, meaningful forms of touch. It can include, but is not limited to sex. Listen, it can include, but is not limited to sex. Because if your wife's love language is physical touch, that does not automatically mean that it's sex, because women and men are different. It could be depending upon your wife. Yeah, but physical touch to her could mean, yeah, I want to cuddle. I want to be held. Let's cuddle on the couch and watch a movie. Hold my hand when we're walking in the grocery store. Kiss me on the cheek. Kiss me on the forehead. Those things are important to her, where you're saying, oh, your love language, your top number 2 was physical touch, so we should be having sex all the time. Yes, sex can be included, but that's not the only thing.
I know how brothers are. You see your wife is physical touch, be like, Be like, man, nah, man, that thing wrong. That thing wrong.
Because she ain't no physical. Yeah, she like physical touch. She just don't like the same. I mean, not don't like. Physical touch is her love language. It's just that it's not expressed in the same form that you believe it is. And for the women, for your husband, it could be sex. It could include sex, but he could also be a guy that wants to cuddle. He could also be a guy that maybe he wants to pat you on the rear end when you're walking by, whatever. You can't just, when you hear physical touch, it doesn't just automatically go to sex. That's included, but not the limit of it. Means it can include that, but that's not where it stops.
Okay. That sounds good. All right. So we talked about the 5 love languages. Words of affirmation. Number 2, quality time. Number 3, receiving gifts. Number 4, acts of service. Number 5, physical touch. All right. So let's give some key takeaways before we get out.
Okay, and so the key takeaways we want to share with you today is 1, it's important to know your spouse's, your significant other's love language. Okay. Whoever you're in relationship with, it's important to know their love language. KNOW, know their love language. If you don't know their love language, their love tank will run on empty. Their emotional love tank will not be filled, and you will be frustrated because you will feel like you're loving them with everything you have, and for them, it's not going to be enough. They're always going to be running on empty because their needs and their desires are not being met. Our second takeaway from the 5 love languages, you have to be intentional about doing what it takes to feel your spouse's, significant other's love language. You will hear this. Listen to me good. You will hear this over and over again on the Marriage Coach podcast, because we are 2 people that believes that intentionality is important. Yes. We believe that you must be intentional about doing things. First of all, you start off by being intentional about them, meaning you make a plan. You focus on doing them. After a while, they become a habit. And now you do them without even thinking about it. But it takes time to get there. And that's how it has to be when you're reframing the way you love this person, to love them the way they need to be loved, so that their emotional love tank can be full. You have to be intentional about filling it up. You have to do something that makes them feel loved. You have to ask them what makes them feel loved. You have to plan it out and then do it. And the third and final takeaway that we take away from the 5 love languages, you have to deposit into your spouse's love tank or your significant other's love tank without expectations or strings attached. Oh. Yeah. So I can't say I'm going to spend quality time with him so he can go buy me gifts. I can't say I'm going to say nice things to him so he can do what I want him to do. I can't say I'm going to do this act of service for him so that he can act right, or so that he can pay the bills, or so that he can do that. We cannot use our significant other. We cannot use the person that we are attempting to express love to. We cannot do that. We cannot make a deposit into their love tank with expectations attached to it and strings, because first of all, they don't know that the strings are attached to it. So you're going to be frustrated when you don't get what you want. When you're learning and when you learn someone's love language, you don't want to use it as a weapon to get them to do what you want them to do. God loves us without expectation, without holding things. You got to do this in order for me to love you. You got to do this in order for me to I'm going to do this for you so you can do this for me. That's not how real God is love. And that's not how real love works. That if you give people their love language and you surround yourself with people who know your love language, you automatically, what you give will be given back to you. I really believe that what you give will be given back to you. Exactly. So if you feel that it's not being given to you, maybe you're not giving it. Maybe you haven't, sometimes you haven't expressed what you need. And if you've allowed, if you've allowed for 5 years, 6 years, 10 years to not express what you need or what you feel is good to you.
Good time to start it now.
Yeah, then you're not getting it. And this is a great time to start. And with that being said, it also makes me think about Those that are single, maybe you're not married, maybe you're not dating. This is the perfect time for you to learn your love language, getting to know people.
You know what you want.
Yeah, you know what you want. And you getting to know people, have them take the love language test too. See what's compatible. See how you guys work together. You know, if you guys have some of the same ideas, for those that are listening that are single, you are at an advantage now because you have the time to learn your love language and operate out of that and make sure that everyone around you, everyone that you choose to date, loves you from your love language.
Right.
If you're dating, you still have time to do this because you're not committed in yet. You're dating.
So we want you to thrive in
every area of your life.
So that's what's important to us. So once again, we thank you for joining us. If this episode was great to you, just share with a friend, share with a loved one, and don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button. The good, the bad, and the ugly. We're gonna share it all. We definitely want to share with you all. So someone that may have just been married, maybe a newlywed, you may have been married 5 years, maybe 10 years into your marriage. No matter what. Wherever you are in your marriage, lessons we learned, mistakes we've made, we're sharing it all.
I want to take this time to invite you to check out our other YouTube channel, Lead to Greatness.
Yes, Lead to Greatness.
A very, very great channel that is designed to help you reach your greatest potential. Have a good one and see you next week.